Aloha and welcome to Action Island. I am Gilles Gallant. I am joined by Nick Giffen, Grant Neiffer, and Sean Koerner. We are going to kick off week 10 in the NFL with the Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos for Thursday night football. And as usual, we got to build a same game parlay for this matchup. It's going to be a four-leg parlay with picks from each one of us. So here's how it works. The four of us, we give our two favorite bets for tonight's game. Then we take a vote on those picks and we decide which of those picks is going to stay as a parlay leg or which one we're just kicking off the island. So by the end of the show, we should have a four-leg same game parlay for you with a pick for each of us. And yeah, as we give out these picks, quick slip links are going to be dropped in the YouTube chat. So if you want to tail any of these bets, you can click that link. It'll take you directly to the sports book, and then you can bet that, get the best lines and the best odds. So, Grant, we got Broncos Raiders on tap. And what are your two favorite bets for this game?
My two favorite bets happen to both be on Denver wide receivers. So let's just get right into it. First one is Troy Franklin to score a touchdown. You can find this anywhere from plus 180 to plus 210. I like it at any of those odds. To me, he is not the go-to guy in this passing game, but he's the go-to guy in the red zone. 12 targets thus far in the year, which I think is fifth in the league among wide receivers. So he's getting targeted very heavily in the red zone, has a good connection with Bo Nix, comes to this game in good form, three touchdowns in the last three games, and obviously didn't get one last week versus the Texans, but that was a very, very tough matchup and a very tough defense. So he's been getting great volume recently. He's been a huge red zone threat. So getting plus 185, plus 210 is just far too high here. And then the next one is going to be Cortland Sutton. I'm going with his over on receiving yards. I got it at 56 and a half. You can find it between 56 and a half, 58 and a half. I like it in that spot, and I don't mind laddering it up. He's been getting heavy volume all season long, hit the over at this number in 6 out of 9 games. And yes, he will have that random outlier game where he just doesn't do much at all, happening against the Jets, the Colts, the Texans, obviously the Texans, just because they are a tough defense. But outside that, he's getting good volume. And I think this game stays a little bit closer. I have it here that the luck rankings are on my side. I think the Raiders stay within striking distance this game. So I expect the Broncos to be passing a decent amount during this game. So I like both of these bets a lot.
All right. And you made it through going and not mentioning the Oregon roommate angle, which again, I feel like when we talk about
It's
Troy
just
Franklin,
played out at this moment. It gets mentioned every single week.
that's okay though. I mean, if he's going to be scoring, then we're going to mention how they both had the same bed sheets or something like that in their dorm room or whatever. But either way, Troy Franklin anytime touchdown, that's around plus 185. Or we're going to be looking at Cortland Sutton over 56 and a half receiving yards. So Sean, Nick, we got to take a vote. All right, guys, I went with Cortland Sutton. I think he's going to have a big game tonight. What'd you guys do? Franklin. Oh, I got outvoted. All right. Okay. Well, Troy Franklin, anytime touchdown. That's one of Grant's best bets that I know that from a touchdown prop perspective, he's got this one and another one. So we're going to add one of Grant's touchdown bets as the first leg of the same game parlay. So Troy Franklin, anytime touchdown around plus 185 to plus 210. All right. Koerner, you are up and you also have two Broncos props.
Yeah. So let's stick with Troy Franklin here. I like his upside tonight as well. So I'm going to go with over 44 and a half receiving yards. Not sure if you guys know this, but he actually played with Bo Nix at Oregon for 2 seasons. So interesting little tidbit there. But Cortland Sutton's, long been the alpha target in this passing offense. But, Franklin's underlying usage especially the last few weeks, has been very similar to Sutton of late. Both wide receivers ran around on 90% of Bo Nix dropbacks last week. Franklin specifically saw a boost because Marvin Mims was out, and Mims is out again here. So I think we're going to see Franklin out there for most of Nick's dropbacks. And his target rate has actually been higher than Sutton for 4 straight games now. I think this could be a squeaky wheel game for Sutton, but Franklin's been so good this year that he's like 1B when it comes to Sutton in this offense right now. And his, yards per route run is a half yard higher than Sutton against cover three, which the Raiders use at the second highest rate, around 50% of the time. And his, target rate when Bo Nix has a clean pocket is slightly higher than Sutton. So, they have a pretty good 1-2 punch right now with Franklin and Sutton. And I think, I agree. I think it's going to be a closer game, so they'll probably be able to lean on the pass for all 4 quarters here. So I like Franklin's upside, going with over 44.5 receiving yards. And then for my next prop, I'm going to go with Bo Nix under 20.5 rushing yards. This was a official play I locked in earlier this morning at 21.5. I still like under 20.5, but he's cleared this in 4 of the last 5 games. But if you look closely, he's only scrambled twice in the last 3 games, but both scrambles happen to go for 21 plus yards. And obviously that's the path for this to get cooked. He scrambles for another 15, 20 yards, and then mixes in a couple, design runs to go over it. But, given the fact that the Raiders have the second lowest pressure rate, I'm expecting Nix to have one of the cleanest pockets he's seen all year behind this elite offensive line. So I'm only projecting him for 1 to 2 scrambles. And the Raiders have actually done an excellent job limiting quarterbacks on scrambles with the third lowest yards per run on scrambles. And they've actually faced a handful of, very mobile quarterbacks. So it's pretty impressive that they do rank so low there. So, I think, the median's probably closer to 18.5 here, but I'm showing quite a bit of value still at 20.5.
For sure. And I think the thing too with the Broncos offense tonight, I think they're really going to lean on the pass, which is why I liked both of the angles that Grant was bringing up, plus the fact that we are looking now at Franklin over on his receiving yards. So like you said, he probably won't have to rush too much because the Raiders don't really get a ton of pressure as it stands. So, all right, Nick, Grant, we got to take a vote. Are we going to double down and get Troy Franklin receiving yards with the touchdown, or are we going to take the official play from Koerner under 20.5 rushing yards for Bo Nix? So let's take a vote. All right, this one was a tough one. I went with Bo Nix. I'm just gonna go with what Koerner's projecting. What did you take, Nix? Oh, okay. Well, Franklin, that makes sense from a Grant standpoint. If he's on the touchdown, that would make sense why he likes the receiving yards. But either way, so that is going to be the second leg of the 4-leg same game parlay. So first leg is Troy Franklin anytime touchdown. We are pairing that with Bo Nix under 20.5 rushing yards from Koerner. Now, Nick, before we get to your picks, first up, if you want access to all of Action Pro projections, make sure to sign up for an annual subscription to Action Pro. Access includes exclusive player prop picks from Sean Koerner and all the members of the Action Analytics team, along with the anytime touchdown projections. To sign up, visit actionnetwork.com/pro today. Use code ISLAND20 at sign up. One more time, that's ISLAND20 at sign up for $20 off. All right, Nick. Normally, I like to ask if this is a luck rankings game, but this is involving the Raiders. So I feel like your first pick, if anybody has followed you at all, it's pretty obvious where we're going here.
Yeah, of course. We're going Trey Tucker, anytime touchdown. It looks like right now the best odds are plus 350 at FanDuel. Still love that. Would take this at anything with a 3 in front of it. And you and I, Gilles, we both tracked this in the Action Network app shortly after Jacoby Myers was traded. That makes Trey Tucker the wide receiver 1 here. And while his volume may not necessarily be too elevated simply because of the matchup, it's a very difficult matchup against Denver. They're really good at shutting down wide receivers. His touchdown upside still remains because Denver plays man defense at a top 2 rate, and Trey Tucker over the course of his career has been destroying man coverage in terms of deep balls and turning those into touchdowns. His long one this year was against cover 4, but he did have a long one against cover 0 as well earlier this year, which is a man coverage. And last year, I mean, if you remember that Chiefs game where we were on Trey Tucker touchdown and his ladder on longest receiving yards and all that stuff, similar situation here. So I'm expecting some upside for Trey Tucker in terms of potential deep shots with no Jacoby Myers and facing this Broncos defense that plays a lot of man. And of course, Pat Surtain is out, so that helps as well. And then, he's the wide receiver 1 in an offense. Like, very rarely do we get a wide receiver 1 in an offense at plus 350 for an anytime touchdown.
Yeah, and usually if we do, it's probably weather related or, something like where there's just going to be all passing is negated. But yeah, I'm glad that you brought up that Chiefs game because that one came right down to the wire. 1 catch, 55 yards, anytime touchdown against a team that was playing a lot of man coverage last year as well. So Trey Tucker, anytime touchdown is the first leg. What are we doing? Not the first leg, first pick. What is your next pick?
I'm going to go to the luck rankings here. So this is a luck rankings side, and the Vegas Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, are the unlucky team here. So I'm going to take them plus 9.5. You can still get at one book out there, I think, DraftKings at minus 110. So get that 9.5. That's, 9 isn't a super key number, but 8 can be somewhat of a secondary key number. But still try to get the best number that you can, right? So this is a degraded game in terms of luck sides. So not a super strong luck play, but it still has some, positive elements to it. A 1.5 luck score, 54.5 luck based cover percentage. So this still beats the market, even though it is a degrade long term. Also, we get a interesting situation here. Geno Smith versus the coverages that Denver tends to use, which is, of course, a lot of man coverage, but then even on the zone ones, they mix in. Overall, he's been about 2.5% more efficient versus those coverages that Denver uses, whereas Bo Nix has been about 7.5% less efficient versus the coverages that Las Vegas tends to use. A lot of cover three, right? 50% cover three, as Sean was mentioning. And then also, we just need to talk about schedules here because the Denver Broncos have faced the easiest opposing defensive schedule in the league, if you just go by DVOA. And the Raiders are surprisingly not terrible on defense. They rank 14th in defensive DVOA. So this is actually a more difficult defensive matchup for Bo Nix than he has averaged on the season. So I think this could be a little bit closer. A lot of it could come down to whether Vegas can move the ball, right? But if Vegas is able to get let's say a long Trey Tucker touchdown bomb, really like them to cover.
Raiders, not terrible. I think that's what I take away from that analysis. Either way, that is a luck rankings pick for Vegas plus 9.5. So Grant, Sean, we got to take a vote. Are we going to take Trey Tucker for an anytime touchdown? He's around plus 350, or are we going to take Las Vegas to cover at plus 9.5? So let's take a vote. All right. Now, normally I am very loyal to the luck rankings, but I don't think I can ever buck the loyalty to Mother Tucker. That's who I voted for. Trey Tucker, Mother Tucker, we got him. Tucker clean sweep. All right. So Trey Tucker anytime touchdown is the third leg of the same game parlay. So now I've got a touchdown prop and I've got an interception prop. On the touchdown side, I already like Trey Tucker, so I've already made that quite clear. But I like RJ Harvey as well for the Broncos. May not be the starter, still getting plenty of looks and opportunities to score. He's got 6 touchdowns this year, but it's actually the short range receiving game where he's made the biggest impact. He scored a receiving touchdown now in 3 straight games. He's got 4 receiving touchdowns on the season. And the Raiders, the type of coverage they use, they play a lot of zone defense. Well, when you actually look at all Broncos pass catchers, Harvey actually leads all of them in targets per route run versus zone defenses this year. So I like the fact that RJ Harvey, we're getting him over plus 200 right now. So that would be the first bet that I like. On the other side, though, this might seem like counterproductive, but I like Bo Nix to throw an interception in this game, especially given how much we're talking about the pass frequency that's going to happen from the Broncos side. So he's got 6 interceptions this year. And the Raiders, Nick kind of alluded to that the defense isn't as bad as it's being played out to be. Well, they've forced an opposing quarterback to throw an interception in 4 of the last 6 games. And when you look at Bo Nix as well, when he's not blitzed, he has 8 turnover worthy plays this year, 7 not against the blitz, only 1 versus the blitz, and the Raiders blitz at a bottom 10 rate. They don't get a ton of pressure. So generally you would think that quarterbacks, when they get a lot of pressure in their face or they're getting blitzed, that's when they would throw interceptions. It's actually the inverse for Bo Nix, where he's tending to make those mental mistakes and errors from a clean pocket. So those are the 2 picks that I like. We are going to take round this parlay out either with RJ Harvey anytime touchdown, or we're going to take Bo Nix to throw an interception. So Grant, Sean, Nick, let's take a vote. All right, guys, do we want to add another Broncos touchdown on here? Or are we going to take Bo Nix to get turnover crazy? I see one Nix. Oh, clean sweep for Nix. Okay. All right. Bo Nix to throw an interception is going to round out this parlay. So let's recap. All right. So we've got Troy Franklin for an anytime touchdown. We're going to take Bo Nix rushing yards under. It's around 20 and a half. Trey Tucker for an anytime touchdown is the third leg. And we're going to round that out with Bo Nix to throw an interception. If you go to Bet365 right now, I'm seeing parlay odds for this at 40-1 right now. Nick, what do you think of this parlay? And do you think it correlates, or do you think maybe we got too greedy with the Bo Nix interception?
No, it's all correlated. If the Raiders cover, the Broncos are gonna have to throw more, and that means Bo Nix could throw an interception. Troy Franklin will get his receiving yards or hopefully a touchdown in that case. And well, I guess the scrambling for Bo Nix doesn't perfectly correlate, but at the same time, the Broncos are still favored, so the Raiders can cover, but Bo Nix can take a few knees to lose some rushing yards there that way as well.
Ooh, I like that angle too about the kneel outs where we could maybe lose a few yards on that front as well. Okay, so one more time before we get out of here. Troy Franklin, anytime touchdown. Bo Nix, rushing yards under. Trey Tucker for an anytime touchdown. Bo Nix for an interception. You parlay all four of those. It is 40-1 at Bet365. We just dropped a quick slip link in the YouTube chat that you can click on, and it will take you directly to the sportsbook to tail that parlay. So that's all for us, guys. Thank you for watching Action Island for Thursday Night Football. We'll be back here on the island to wrap up Week 10 with a pretty decent matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. So on behalf of Nick Giffen, Grant Neiffer, Sean Koerner, I'm Gilles Gallant. Aloha and bon chance.